So, a very warm good afternoon to you all. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to all the delegates who are joining and logging us for this technical session titled Agritechs for the Future Farms of Future. This session features a series of brief, high impact presentations showcasing unique models, technologies, and strategies that are shaping our future of agriculture. Through these insights, we will gain a deeper understanding of how the agri-tech ecosystem is unlocking new opportunities for growth, sustainability, and resilience in the agriculture sector. So we will be starting our session. It is my pleasure to welcome the esteemed panel for today's discussion. The session will be moderated by Mr. Hemendra Mathur, Venture Partner, Bharat Innovation Fund. I welcome on stage Mr. Amardeep Panwar, co-founder and CEO, Bharat Rohan Airborne Innovations Private Limited. Mr. Tarun Katoj, co-founder Dwara e-Registry. Mr. Shrikant Voleti, Vice President of Product Management Kalgudi. And Mr. Shashank Kumar, co-founder and CEO Dehat. I'd request all to please come on stage and take your seats. Thank you so much. We are eagerly anticipate a very engaging and insightful discussions ahead. So with this, I now hand over the session to Mr. Hemendra Mathur. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Thanks to the Access team for inviting us. Um, Really very proud in midst of some of the very smart entrepreneurs sitting on the left side. So the session is on agri-tech. I'm sure most of you will be familiar with it. Just to set the context for the panel, about 15, 20-year-old sort of industry in India. Of course, innovations has been happening in agriculture for decades and centuries, but innovation led by startups, I think lastly 15, 20 years. Shashank, who's on the extreme left, he taught me what agri-tech is all about. So it's not that old, but very, very important sector. And last 15 years has been phenomenal. If we talk in terms of impact on farmers, opportunities to create more incomes, linking farmers with markets, better price discovery, solutions to optimize inputs, solution to buy inputs, a lot of solutions around climate, water use efficiency, sort of energy efficiency and stuff like that. Very interesting solutions coming around convergence of agri-tech and fintech, making institutional credit or low cost credit available to farmers. So yeah, I can go on and on, but yeah, I think that ecosystem has developed very nicely over last decade or so. As we speak, about 6,000 plus entrepreneurs in the sector, doing some fantastic stuff. Another important dimension of agri-tech in India, especially, is what it has done is digitizing the agri value chain. I think the kind of digitization that we have seen in last decade or so is probably unprecedented, and I think we are going to see a lot of that in you know another decade or 2 decades to come. Uh, and if we specifically also talk about another important parameter of impact, since we are sitting in a livelihood conference, is the potential of agri-tech to create jobs. That is also a very, very important dimension. uh, in my estimate, all agri-tech startup put together, there are about 50,000 odd people working for them as employees, and for every direct job, about 10 to 15 indirect jobs get created. So I think so far we've generated employment in the tune of 5 lakh to 10 lakh, mostly in the rural areas, for micro entrepreneurs, for village level entrepreneurs, for people who are doing the first mile, last mile connect with farmers. So that's phenomenal. And I'm very, very hopeful that in another 5, 10, 15 years, when we have 10,000 active agri-tech startup, which is a pretty, is a possibility, they creating jobs in the order of 10 million, about a crore jobs in rural India. And that's I think one of the major impact if you look from a livelihood perspective. And these guys, micro entrepreneurs and these rural youth and even a lot of women out there, they typically earn 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 kind of money on a monthly basis. Huh? That's not small. So I think that has been on the impact side. I'm sure uh, all the panelists can sort of also talk about it. So I'll probably stop here. The format is like this. We have uh, four founders. All of them will be making a 5-minute presentation or 5-minute speech about their startup, what they're doing. Once we are done with that, we'll get into discussion. And if I can take the liberty, I probably will go uh, left to from Aman to Shashank. So maybe Aman, maybe you can start with it, and please try and finish in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amandeep Pamar. I'm one of the co-founders here at Bharat Rohan. So we started Bharat Rohan with, when we identified a problem which is primarily the kind of crop losses the farmer face because of the pest attacks, disease outbreaks, and nutrient deficiencies. Um One of the major challenges that we identified is that they're not able to identify all these crop issues in the early stages. And we thought of, as engineers, what is the solution that we can find? Uh, I'm an aeronautical engineer by education, and drones were closer to what I could reach. So I thought that I can utilize them to acquire the data and help farmers, and that's why I ended up building Bharat Rohan, which is primarily using drone-based hyperspectral imaging, which identifies these crop issues using drone-based data, and then creates advisories for the farmers to help them take actions in the right time at the appropriate location on the in the farm. Another problem that we have identified is that while farmers are advised to use sustainable practices, reduce the amount of crop losses, uh, they are also expected that the kind of maybe the chemical usage has to be reduced, and that has to be controlled, which puts them into a dilemma whether they use chemical implements to save the crop, or they actually supply the residue-free commodities. So that's where we come in picture, where we help them to implement sustainable farming practices using drones by precisely identifying where particular chemical implement is needed, and then supporting them in identifying the right buyer, which can procure the sustainably grown farm produce. So we have two products which we provide. So one is Crop Assure, where we work with the farmers on the ground right from the stage of pre-sowing until harvest, providing them with the drone services to optimize their crop inputs. And then Source Assure, which connects them with the buyers to help them supply the commodities to the right buyer looking for the sustainably grown produce. Uh, I'll quickly walk through these services. So right at the pre-sowing stage, we create geotags for the farmers, identify where and what is the farm boundaries of those farmers, then create advisories for them about uh, identifying which kind of basal dosage is required for the crop cultivation. Throughout the growing stage, then we carry out drone surveys every 7 to 15 days. Once the crop is ready for the harvest, we then procure the farm produce and supply farm produce to the right buyer. And that's where the kind of buyer who is working with us, they get access to the traceability, they get access to the commodity, which is free from the chemical residues that is grown with the farmer. So overall, the impact that we are able to deliver on the ground goes up to 26% on an average, which is the amount of crop losses that are prevented, as well as the profit margin that is increased as a result of working with Bharat Rohan. Uh, we just to show you the impact of the advisory. So two adjacent fields, if we had surveyed two adjacent fields, in a location in Barabanki, uh, where both of those farms were identified with brown plant hopper. However, only one farmer was given the advisory, and as a result, farmer acted on the advisory at the right time. You can see, which is highlighted in green, the crop was saved from the loss, and it is ready for the harvest. Whereas the other farmer's crop is damaged because of the hopper burn that is caused by brown plant hopper pest. So that's the kind of impact that we deliver on the ground. Uh, our business model is simple. We charge farmers a subscription fee for the entire season, and also we earn a trading arbitrage on the sale of the farm produce. So we work with several buyers, also with several agri input companies. Uh, we have we are a team of agronomists, hyperspectral imaging experts, remote sensing experts, uh, and also backed by several key advisors and mentors. That's all from my end. Thank you so much.
Great, Aman. I think there's a myth that farmer don't pay for advisory. I think that is kind of dispelled by Bharat Rohan. Great work. Thank you. Tarun, maybe you want to present?
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Tarun, and I represent a startup called Dwara e-Registry. It's an ag fintech startup based out of Hyderabad. So, what problem we are solving? So, if we see 3 out of 5 farmer in India doesn't have access to institutional credit. The major reason being they don't have credit score. They are based out of the geographies which are far off from the banks. They are not educated enough and they don't have financial literacy to complete the loan processes. And as a result, there is a lot of dropouts. So that's the major problem that Indian agriculture is facing. So problem doesn't stop here. It's equally important to be that we provide finance to the farmers, but it's important that we also build the efficiency or ability to repay. If we see, India is one of the biggest producer of the commodities. Whatever the commodity we take, India will be in top 3, but when it comes to productivity, it's very low. And that's the productivity gives the which gives the ability to repay. So we are addressing these two problems and trying to help farmers. Coming on to addressing the issues of finance. So major problem is the farmer doesn't have credit scores. So what we do is we use remote sensing satellite technology, use AI ML, and then we monitor what farmer has done in his field for last 3 years. How many crop he has taken, how much area is coming under cultivation, whether there was a damage, whether there was proper nutrient supplied, what was the health of the crop, moisture status. So all these things are studied. Second aspect that we study is what is the impact of climate change on that location for last 3 years. So it's very important to understand the activity of farmer plus the climate, because both are risk factors when we are doing lending. So we integrate both of these things and then we come up with the score which we call as a Khet score, and Khet in Hindi means just farm field. So this farm score then becomes an alternative to credit score, and based upon that, banks, NBFCs, or any lending institution lend to farmers. How we approach things, providing finance as well as improving the productivity. So we have 3 stacks that undertake all this activity: end-to-end digital interventions. So when we work with the farmers, we take route of FPO because that gives us scale. We are able to efficiently utilize our resources. So we onboard FPOs, we digitize the data of the farmers. When I say data of the farmer, it is land holding, crop they are growing, what allied activity they are doing. So all these things are captured. So it's a more of a static information and assisted model where our people on ground collect the data. Then we move on to more of a dynamic data: which crop they are growing, which variety they are growing, when they are growing, soil conditions. So all these things are captured that help us in planning for the all the agri inputs that they might be requiring at farmer level, village level, and FPO level, so that market connects can happen. Once this is done, so FPO gets the information of the market opportunities, business opportunities, and farmer starts getting customized advisories depending upon his crop, date of sowing, block level weather forecast, soil condition, what he should do in his field. Then information on the price, weather. So all these things happen. So that helps in improving the productivity, and FPO is able to provide the right product at their doorstep at a competitive price. So that helps in reducing the cost of cultivation. and where farmer needs financing. So we have already digitized their land holding. Through remote sensing, we know how many farmers are eligible for lending, those who are credit worthy, and then lending happens end to end. Everything is digital at the farmer doorstep. So in short, we provide finance, connect to the markets, backward, forward, and advisories. We are present in we are doing lending in states marked in dark blue, 5 states, and others are where we are providing our value chain services. So some of our partners, we are working with banks and NBSCs. What we have done is we are provided loan to more than 25,000 farmers. Now it is around 28,000 farmers. Around 120 million, 120 crores of lending has been done, around 14 million. Uh, the important thing here is using this technology, we are able to finance to the farmers those who are considered to be non-credit worthy or were outside the preview of traditional banking branch model. So 40% of our customers are entirely new to credit. Around whatever we have done lending, around 90% are small and marginal. 36% of our customers are women farmers, where they are primary borrowers. So if you see, this is the segment which gets most neglected. But if we use the technology, we are trying to address this gap. And we are working with now 90 FPOs, and not only getting restricted to crop loans, but also promoting dairy working capital loan and MSME loans. We are also intervening on climate smart interventions, trying to promote right practices. So we are promoting 50 FPOs through national sector scheme of central government. We are working with 11 fisheries FPOs. We are working with International Rice Research Institute, Walmart Foundation, World Bank. So these are some of the activities that we are doing. Some of the awards is like BRIC Solution Award by BRIC Nation for our climate smart interventions. So I'll stop here, but that's brief about Intel. Thank you.
Thanks, Tarun. Great piece of work. Interesting example of intersection of agri-tech, fintech, space tech. So great. Thank you very much. Shrikant from Kalgudi, request you to make a presentation.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Shrikant Voleti. I am Vice President Product Management at Kalgudi. So our evolution, like Hemant said, we started way back 20 years, and we were part of different evolutions of agriculture ecosystem. So initially, we were giving productivity tools for the agri enterprises, and that's when we understood not just serving the enterprises helps us, and then we understood there is a need for marketing to be enabled, market access to be enabled. So that is where we first digitized the APMCs, Agriculture Marketing Board in Karnataka. All the APMCs are digitized by us, and we were able to show a big value addition to the agri ecosystem. And a survey says the farmers in Karnataka were able to get more than what any other farmer in the other state is getting. So that is the kind of impact we were able to generate. And when doing that, we were able to understand the ecosystem needs to be enhanced rather than just a single player in the ecosystem. So that is where we build the Kalgudi ecosystem, where farmers, the businesses, and the associated ecosystem like service providers are brought into the same platform, and we were enabling the networking for them. But here we had learning that the ecosystem is not ready for a network-based platform. So that's when we switched our gears and we integrated intelligent marketplaces where we worked with big organizations, and we were able to initiate a lot of transactions based on the interactions which were initiated by FPOs or farmers, so that these interactions can be converted into transactions. So that is the big value addition we were able to create. In this journey, we were working with organizations like Digital Greens in enabling the chili market value chains in AP and Telangana. And we worked with a few other organizations as well in digitizing the FPOs in Andhra Pradesh under the organization of Society for Elimination of Rural Poverty. And when doing that, we understood the next level of convergence is required. So this is where now we are introducing our new platform where we offer solution to the agri enterprises. So these enterprises act as catalysts. They trigger the spark in the ecosystem. They identify the problems, and the entire ecosystem will try to address the problem in a way that it is beneficial for everyone. So when this is happening, there is a lot of gratification that is observed, and that is where the ecosystem is going to derive value out of it and arrives at a sustainability stage. So currently, how Kalgudi is offered. So we are offering a banking engagement platform. We are working with some of the NBFCs in enabling the agri value chains for them. And we are working with community engagement platform. Here we are offering solutions to organizations who want to engage with farmers, FPOs, and enable sustainable practices and sustainable ecosystem. So donor agencies, foundations are part of this community engagement. And then we are working with the distribution engagement platform. Here we are working with input organizations where channel management becomes key for them, but they have a keen interest in interacting with their end customers, which is the farmers. And we have other engagement platforms as well. So getting into the details, in the banking engagement, one of the key things that we understood was the though the banks want to interact with farmers, they don't have a mechanism to engage with them. So they don't have a profile of the farmer, they don't know how to engage with them. In similar lines, when you look at the other side, the farmers doesn't know what are the financial products which banks can offer to them. So this is where we are marrying both of these through the platform, where there will be a digitization effort that will be carried out, and the farmer profiles will be there, and the FPOs get digitized, and the FPO grading tool or the health metrics platform is enabled, where the different activities of FPOs are uh, utilized to understand the maturity of the FPO, which can be used for the financing. So when doing this, the banks were able to understand how the FPOs or any organization is interacting with them. So one interesting observation was, most of the times in agriculture sector, there are using only one financial product, but there is a lot of opportunity for cross sell and upsell, like insurance products can be sold, loans for vehicles or equipment can be given. So this kind of opportunities is something banks are also keen in looking at and exploring. And here we are offering all these solutions to the NBFCs and banks, where they are able to actively engage with them. And the big benefit the banks are seeing is the turnaround time for the loan processing is reduced from weeks to days, and they were able to upsell and cross sell the products. On the community engagement, we were able to create the digital dashboards which help the foundations and the donor agencies to understand the nitty-gritty details of how their funded organizations are actively involved at the ground step and what they are doing. So this is where you end up seeing the transparency building up, and the foundations are able to intervene at right times to enable a sustainable intervention. And when doing this, some of the things that we were doing was IoT interventions, which can help in increasing the shelf life of post-harvest. This we did with an organization, and there was a good increase in the shelf life of groundnut after harvest, so that the crisis sale is averted. And in similar lines, we worked with international organizations like ICRISAT and ICADA, and we were able to showcase how satellite-based remote sensing can be used in the paddy fields, so that the right amount of NPK can be administered in the fields for better value addition. And when working with agri enterprises, one of the big value addition that we were able to create along with their channel management was enable special programs for carbon credits. This is enabling them to pass back a lot of value to the farmers along with selling their inputs. And when doing this, one of the key things that we observed was the majority of the organizations, they cannot afford to have a permanent employment at rural level. So this is where a task based payment model was enabled by us for the gig workers, so that for every task they do, there is a fixed amount that was predefined, and on completion the same amount is paid back. So this is a heavy success we were able to observe in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, and we are planning to scale this up in a big way. Thank you.
Thanks, Shrikant. Very interesting example of how uh, gig economy in rural area is kind of developing on the back of these kind of solutions. That's great. Last but not the least, Shashank, we all know, founder of Dehat. He's an inspiration for a lot of agri-tech startups. Over to you.
Namaste, very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Shashank. I am one of the co-founders of Dehat. We started our entrepreneurial journey back in 2011. We have been trying to build a one-stop solution for Indian farmers. In a very simple way, we have been trying to bring everything related to agriculture, everything related to farming under one roof for Indian farmers in an affordable as well as accessible manner. And over the years, we we built an array of value chain interventions and services for farmers in a crop agnostic manner. So for us as an organization, we always would put farmer in the center, and then that's the way how we have been building the solution, so that whichever crop they grow, whether they are growing staples or horticulture crops or spices or whatsoever, how they can get the entire value chain, entire 360-degree value chain services under one roof, and then how this roof can be placed, can be located very close to the farm gate. Why? Because as we all know that almost 90% farmers are small and marginal. So over the years, the services we could build are related to access to agricultural input, which is like again very wide range of brands and SKUs for whichever crop they grow, whether it's seeds or crop protection or nutrition or cattle related inputs, animal nutrition, anything. Then obviously a lot of things related to advisory, which is very, very exhaustive, right from soil test to pest detection to weather alert to everything, your irrigation optimization, everything. And then the market linkage, because most of the time farmers, or at least with the lens of farmers, market linkage is they're one of the most perceived, important problem or need rather. So then access to market for all the major commercial crop they grow. And then roughly a year and a half ago, we could integrate financial services as well for the same set of farmers, for the same network. So which is definitely one step closer to our larger goal. And needless to say that with respect to time, again, we have our plans to bring other relevant services for the farmers as well. In terms of geography, we started from eastern part of India, precisely Bihar, and then over the years successfully we could replicate this model to different geographies, whether it's all the eastern part of states like Bihar, Jharkhand, UP, Bengal, Odisha, or then the other north or central or western states such as UP, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, Maharashtra, and then Gujarat. But I think one thing all of us would agree that agri is one subject where every day we learn new things, right? Or every day we get to know a new problem statement. So this sector, I think, which always makes you feel very, very younger and a blank slate every day, right? So whenever people like Hemendra tell you that okay, so you have been working for 12 years, the very next day the sector tell you, no, it's just a day one. It's not. It's day zero for you. But I think over the years while building Dehat, the philosophy, what we learned and developed, largely twofold, which is one, the digitization, and two, supply chain up to the farm gate of Indian farmer. So essentially, I think whatever I said a few minutes ago, and obviously during the years, the way of doing the same thing kept evolving, and that's how it should be. I'm sure it will keep evolving. But the two fundamental things which always remain same is these two things, which is digitization and then building supply chain up to the farm gate of farmers. And we felt that I think just because of these two things, uh, again, as an organization, as an enterprise, at any given point of time, we come across uh, many opportunities, or rather many need of farmer, right? So obviously back in 2012 to 15 16, the same these two pieces again helped us to give them basic access to agri value chain services, which is giving them input, giving them access to advisory, and then obviously helping them to get access to market. But then obviously when the scale grew, the time changed, right? I mean, the overall market demand and everything again has been very very volatile. So then at one point of time, again we started getting newer opportunities, such as that, hey, so again, if you guys are representing a large network of farmers, so not just the like raw produce, right? I mean, can you bring some kind of customization? Can you grow let's say high protein corn? Can you grow chili with high pungency? Or can you, let's say I have a new seed or biofertilizer, can you basically again help us to reach out to right set of farmers with right intelligence for that matter? So we felt that ki I think काम तो वही हो रहा है. Eventually farmers are selling the produce, eventually farmers are buying the produce, but the only reason I think we could be in a, or we were in a position to grab those opportunities because of the two things, that digitization and then building the supply chain. Then obviously uh, if I just talk about like last 2 3 years, same like newer set of opportunities we experienced, which are related to the global supply chain, right? I mean, as few of you or few of us must have seen that how agri export from India, it just got doubled to $50 billion in last 3.5 years, right? So, and there were a number of such things. But we felt that again I would be repetitive, that just because of our very very strong conviction around digitization and building supply chain up to the village, up to the khet, up to the farmer, I think that really really helped us as an enterprise to be in a position to grab the opportunity what in general the world or the industry or the farmer has been demanding. And I think that is something what has kept us ahead in the learning curve. But at the same time, I think we also felt and learned that these two things, these are very very similar to our agriculture operation, right? I mean, where you go for sowing and then you wait for harvesting maybe after a few months or few years with very very high degree of uncertainty. So, and then sometimes you win, sometimes you don't, but that's how it's life. But yes, as on date, as we speak, when Dehat has its footprints to 122,286 villages of India across 12 states, where we have 14,466 Dehat centers. And then through these network, when every day we aggregate 9,600 metric ton of produce, when every day farmers demand any agri input, it gets delivered in less than 30 hours, which is 32,000 orders every day. When every month we spend almost 7.5 million minutes, with the farmer while guiding them for sustainable agricultural practices. But I think we are still firm with our those two conviction what we have built over the years, and on the success of those conviction, we foresee many 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 newer opportunities coming in our plate, not just us for a dehat, but for the entire agri-tech space. And I think that's where, if I just take 2 minutes, that I feel that again agri-tech is a space. Hemant rightly said that it's just 10 to 15 years old space. I feel that in reality it's just 6 years old. वो 10 साल कंसीव होने में लगा था, 5 साल में ही इसका जन्म हुआ है. Majority people, in fact, for example, even in our case, many people feel that Dehat was started in 2019, right? लोगों को लगता है जब से funding हुई तभी से success मिलता है. But in reality we started back in 2011. So, but yes, I think it's a it's a very very strong point of inflection for agri-tech space. And the way how it's placed today, right, it's definitely not winner takes all. It's definitely the way how basically again now there are thousands of agri-tech enterprises trying to solve same thing or similar problem statement in a different way. The way how there has been very very high degree of convergence among the philanthropic organizations, policymakers, large corporate, and of course the private players and the agri-tech. The way how the digital connectivity has been improving at a ground level. So in general, agri-tech has a very very important and major role to play in next 3 to 5 years, the way how we see. And especially if I just highlight for the benefit of the house that there are many opportunities, but again, in our view, through our lens, these 4 or 5 things we definitely foresee a great opportunity for everyone, and hence basically opportunity not just to build the business, but opportunity to create a very very large sustainable impact at the ground. And those opportunities and subsectors are, one, definitely the global food chain, the way how in general the food safety and security has become a very important theme, and hence opportunity for India, which has a diverse agroclimatic zone where entire world is looking at India as a reliable and consistent source of food. But obviously, right, I mean, to grab this opportunity, again, at our back end, right, the supply chain, the package of practices at farm level with the farmer, it will have to be completely in sync with the global demand. But this is definitely one opportunity what we foresee. The second piece is the climate change. uh, we have been talking about this, partly it was covered by Shri as well. But even in our very short span of last 10 to 12 years of journey in our agri, we have seen that how the sowing temperature at a soil level has changed by almost 4 or 5 degrees Celsius, right? I mean, initial 10 years of my life I spent in my village in Bihar, which is located, situated in Gangetic belt. And even there, basically, I have seen that how the water table has been depleting. So the climate change, definitely in Indian context, the impact is really lesser than other geographies, but still it's not different, right? I mean, even for India, it's relevant now. So that is another area where again Agritech has to play the most or very important role. What Amandeep always, I mean, Aman has already covered the way how they are basically getting, or they have been providing their precision agri solution towards that. The third one in general is the financial services. The way how Tarun rightly mentioned, already mentioned, the 3 out of 5 farmers are underserved. Still, like, again, we all have huge ground level exposure, and we see that even as on date, borrowing rate for farmer is 3 to 5% monthly, right? So still, but good part is that on the success of the base, what we are seeing here, whether it's insurance or whether it's lending, I think it has to change, and we are definitely seeing a point of inflection for financial services as well, where Agritech will have a pivotal role to play. Last not the least is the way how the overall consumption pattern is changing, whether at a consumer level or at an industry level, right? The way how consumer level, where our, let's say, GDP per capita, which is getting closer to 3000, and it has been already established across globe that the way the day when it will hit 5000, in general, overall at a national level, the food pattern, the consumption pattern will change. It will get inclined more towards protein and high value crops, right? But again, for to grab those opportunities, to be in a right position to serve those requirements, we'll have to start working today. And where obviously there cannot be any other or better channel or platform than Agritech, which has a very very high probability to achieve the scale in a sooner time with very very high degree of marginality. And when I'm talking about the consumption pattern, it's not just at the consumer level, also at the industry level, right? We all have seen the way how a lot of changes in terms of consumption pattern at an industry level, such as maybe ethanol, right? I mean, where standalone ethanol it standalone has a, let's say, almost 8 to 10 million ton of corn deficit of supply for next 7 8 years or so. So I can go on and on, but I think fourth one, the way how the overall consumption pattern has been changing within the domestic market, whether at an industry level or at a household level. But the good part, and I think that's where I will end my words today, that we keep saying internally that that the best part of agriculture, or the best part of agri-tech, is that there are too many things to do, and the worst part is that there are too many things to do. So thank you, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Shashank, for a very, very motivating speech. A lot of data points, very interesting data points, and I think totally agree with you. The best of agri tech is yet to come. We are very young in a journey, and I just want to add what I think all of them mentioned around digitization. Of course, each one of them have done a great job, and kudos to them for persisting with this theme. I just want to add that the amount of work that the government is doing now in digitization is also quite something. For last 3 4 years, there's a lot of emphasis in creating digital public goods for agriculture, and of course, Agritech is going to be the fundamental stack which is going to digitize the farm ID, the farmer ID, and the crop ID. Just imagine with a click of a button, you know who the farmer is, where he or she located, the farm size, and the crop that he or she is growing. I think that is phenomenal piece of information which is going to be available. It's still in works. Some states are ahead, some states are sort of catching up. And I think the good thing is that the government has the intent to open source. It's not going to be used only for government DBT and sort of lending, etc. It's also going to be used by the private sector. Of course, time frame could be months or years, but I am very hopeful that this is going to create another wave of agri-tech in the country, which can make a lot of farmers inclusive, and hopefully what we can achieve as entrepreneurs in next 30 years, we can potentially achieve that in next 10 years. So I see those inflection points coming in the journey of a lot of entrepreneurs, and of course everyone who's linked to agriculture sector. I think another important change that I'm seeing is, for a change, food companies are talking to agriculture companies. I always call it the bipolar disorder, when food and agri don't even talk to each other. But thankfully, a lot of food companies have made big claims on sustainability, net zero. And how can you claim that when 80% of what you are selling, which is sourced from villages and small farms, are not net zero, right? And thankfully, there's enough technology, traceability, blockchain, and you can really capture the supply chain end to end. So I think that's another interesting phenomena that I'm seeing of late, where large food companies are talking to a lot of agri entrepreneurs and agri tech companies, and of course reaching out to farmers and villages. So I'll sort of get into discussion. Um, I think one question which I'm often asked, and I'm sure a lot of audience may have that question. I think you all talked about digitization. Question is, a farmer sitting in a small village uh, with 1 acre, 2 acre farm, is he adopting digital solution? What is the level of adoption? Does he have a smartphone? Is he on social media? Is he willing to place an order online? Is he willing to pay online? So I want to get, I think, each one of you to probably respond, given your experiences. How do you see farmer level of digital literacy? If you can give some examples, that will be really great. Aman, you want to go?
So I think there is definitely a lot of interest and intent from the farmers. Like they want to use digital solutions, but there are a lot of distractions also. So if we talk about, if we are providing some service, be it like for example advisory, so we tried experimenting that we will give them an app. They'll use it very often and access all the or consume the content that we are creating for them. But eventually most of their attention has been towards either WhatsApp or Instagram, or not Instagram so much at that point in time, but mostly Facebook and YouTube. uh, so that was a, maybe a difficult point for us to enter and talk about agriculture, specifically. Although they are still consuming a lot of content, for example, on YouTube, they are seeing a lot of videos about agriculture itself there. But our investment, particularly into developing interest and bringing them and keeping them hooked onto the app, you know, was quite difficult at that point of time. So that's when we started to evaluate, can we come to the platform where they're already present. So WhatsApp was a clear choice. uh, so whatever advisory we are providing, we started to provide that through WhatsApp. It's very easy to use. It's just regularly how they're interacting with others. They can interact with Bharat Rohan, and that's how they can access everything. Even placing an order, everything could be there itself on the chatbot. So that's where we saw some opportunity and to be there wherever they are. Uh, but definitely there's a lot of interest, and they want to you know mostly for the record keeping purpose. They want to have everything at one place. uh, Same thing comes with the payments, although right now they're not like, at least the farmers we are in touch with, so around 60-70% are still making cash payments. But they have started to adopt Google Pay or any other UPI apps. And usage of cards has also increased. So they're using cards more and more to make the payments. And when we try to incentivize them, maybe offer them some discounts or cashbacks if they pay digitally, that definitely adds to that advantage. So that's something that we have seen in our experience. You want to?
Thanks, Aman. So, what we felt that COVID definitely pushed digital, you can say, literacy, bridged the digital gap. So, a lot of smartphone came in every household. So that was very important. But another thing happened was majority of agtech came with their own apps. So it became difficult for farmers to keep all the apps. So they don't have usually high-end phones to capture so many apps and then consume data. So that was the one thing. But I always believe farmer will be the last one to come on the digital platform. It's a behavioral change. So once they get the proper markets on the phone, they can get uh, you can say pull products like fertilizer and all these things on phone. They start using. As of now, majority of the apps and all these things are the products which are kind of a push. The companies are pushing. So it's like they're trying to create videos and all these things and then try to sell the product which is slightly they are not aware of. It's not that might not be useful, but they are not aware of. So I think it will take some time, but yes, the progress which is happening is very fast. But yes, they will be last. So all the input output companies need to come, and then automatically the shift will happen.
And Tarun, you talked about financing. So how much of the financing journey is digital?
So
You know,
for us,
like getting KYC data or underwriting data.
yes,
Can you do it
yes.
digitally?
So
Mm.
all our activity that we do
Mm.
is digital,
Okay.
but it's an assisted model. So our person goes at the doorstep and then do the activity. We don't expect farmers to click the photograph and then share to us. So
Right.
we tried, it didn't work. The quality of camera, how to click the photograph, and all these things are such that we can't depend on them.
So
So journey from physical to digital has to be through digital. So that's how we are moving. And one observation I had, so we have apps and we train farmers. So what's the conducive training program that needs to be given? It varies with gender, it varies with education, but we felt at least 4 training programs is needed. In one training program they know कोई तो आया था बता के गया था, दूसरा कोई आया था एग्री का बताया था सामान खरीद सकते हैं, तीसरा ये बताया था they will tell two or three functionalities. In fourth, they become so much, you can say, aware that they can guide now other farmers. So 80% and above knowledge about the app they can give up to 4, but that requires time, that requires resource, that requires a lot of
got
investment.
it. Thanks. Thanks very much. Shrikant, you talked about community engagement. So how much of that is digital? Do they really come again and again on the platform, or is it like difficult to hold them on a particular platform?
So actually, when we talk about communities, so before that, first thing, when there is a value associated with any activity, and that is a financial value, then definitely everyone will be having an inclination to do. So if your advice or any task which you are suggesting to a farmer, if it increases his income, definitely he will find a way to definitely do that. So one example I will tell you. So we are working with one FPO in Telangana called Mulknoor Cooperative Society. So there, I happened to visit there, and there are 8,000 plus farmers who are the members. And I happened to see a 60 plus years old farmer coming in. And I understand he was an illiterate. And I asked him, do you receive any message based on which you are coming? No. I see the remaining farmers in my village coming, and I know this is the time for taking loan, so I am following. And after some time, he came and asked me, can you give me a pen? I gave it and I told you, you don't know how to write, what you will do. I will ask my friend to fill the form. Because why I am saying this is because he is going to get the loan, he is trying to figure out how to get the loan. Okay, so someone is helping him in filling the form and he is approaching them to get the form filled. Okay, so in the same lines, when we are working with communities, FPOs, in enabling the advisories, okay, two things are happening. Because the farmers are working in groups, someone will be saying, I received this message and this is useful. Okay, did you see it? So that little bit of guilt of whatever that is useful to me, I am not able to find, someone else is able to see, is little bit pinching them. Second, when you actually give that advice, along with that you give where he can uh, go and leverage that advice to get the benefit. So if there is an advice about pest, and this is the pesticide to be used, and we say these are the nearby dealers who can help you in buying that, then the farmer is definitely interested. So this is where we are seeing a value associated, and whatever that is relevant for them on time to time basis. If it is just only seed purchase, maybe that's when he stops using it. But if it continues to, then pesticide usage, then post harvest, and any other trainings are happening on time to time basis. And when that same information is circulated in other channels which he is using, like WhatsApp or SMS, they will come back to the platform and start using it. It is not like for everything I need to use the platform. I know how to plow the field. I don't need to read a advice to do it. But if there is a new mechanism that is getting taught, like how to do DSR cultivation, maybe farmer is interested in knowing. So when the value is there for the advice, people will definitely come back.
Okay. Oh, that's great. Shashank?
So, see, success failure is always a relative, fact. Uh, Again, with our own experience, there was a time when we used to ask, or when we used to ask phone number, right? So that I think we could schedule IVR for crop advisory, right? I mean, we had to face restriction कि साहब phone number क्यों दें? And versus that, obviously now there is a smartphone app. So digitization तो हो ही रहा है. But I think in today's context, I would say for content, uh, uh, I would say the level of adoption is high, and we can see the parallel. I would say, let's say, even as on date, as we speak in India, there are at least three platforms, right, such as Plantex, AgriCentral, Krishify, uh, who claim to have more than 5 million farmers on their platform. All three platforms are mostly content only. However, when it comes about commerce, that is something which is yet to happen, right? Because then at the same time, again, these platforms, they have, as of now, they have mostly content, no commerce for that matter. So that is one. And but on the payment side, obviously, the way, I mean, we have seen that, that in general for India, when the monthly UPI transaction, it has gone beyond $100 billion, and where almost 73-74% transaction, it comes from tier 2, tier 3 rural or so. So yeah, and there I think I personally had one experience. In fact, last week itself, when I was in Hapur of Uttar Pradesh, and coincidentally last year the same time I was there with the same center, and the micro entrepreneur Ardehat Center, he said that in 1 year the UPI transaction, again, it has transformed. It has grown from 30% to almost 75% at his center.
Wow.
So I would say, I think content side, yes. Payment side, yes. Content to commerce, yet to be seen.
No, totally agree. And I'm seeing even the kind of startups I interact with, there are a lot of guys which are content first, and there's a commerce first, and there's a finance first. So that's also interesting bucketization that I'm seeing. I'm told that we are out of time, but I want to ask one last question, probably 30-second answer. I think lot of grassroots organizations, village communities, FPOs. I think that is another ecosystem which is evolving, right? How does, as an agri-tech entrepreneur, we interact or leverage, this power of collaboration? And thankfully, there are many of those communities. I'm sure Access has developed many of those communities over last many decades. How do you see that partnership going? Anyone,
Yeah, we are working with a lot of FPOs and farmers. And when we work with some of the NGOs, they don't work with FPOs. They create farmer facing organizations and farmer groups. So one of the big things that we see is, if you see any of the village, there are a couple of lead farmers. So these farmers actually help the remaining farmers in facilitating everything. So we don't see them as competitors or isolated new set of users. They are an informal structure for FPO. Maybe over a period of time, they come into a formal structure with a company registration or something like that. But those are the people who actually help in getting the farmers more towards a digital platform, because they need a bigger intervention and visibility to solve their problems. That is how I see it.
Okay. Karan, you want to say?
So FPOs or any farmer aggregate is important for us because it gives us scale and we are able to utilize our resources better. But equally important is there is a lot of mortality in FPO, lack of ownership. So our customer is farmers. We take FPO route to reach to the farmers, but we also ensure that we are not dependent upon FPO. In one fine day, if there is no money, there is no office which is opening, our work should not hamper. So we make relation, but yes, we use FPO. But yeah, we are totally aware as the government support stops, 99% things stops.
Sure. Kumar?
So I think one thing that we have, for particularly to deliver our services, we need, across a single village, we need around 150 to 200 acres of area, so that we can have bring some efficiency in the drone operations, that we carry out. So we started to work with some FPOs, but as Tarun mentioned, that the lack of ownership and uh, you know leadership becomes a challenge. So we try to collectivize farmers into small clusters. So our executive goes and tries to carry out these workshops. We call them Pragati meetings, Pragati Baitaks. So we carry out these discussions and then start to onboard farmers in small cluster of 60 70 farmers having 150 to 200 acres of area. And we tried to create our own community, who basically use drone services and work end to end with us throughout the season and throughout the year. So that's how we approached it, in this manner.
Okay, so I think, see, any to implement any solution at farmer level, any kind of behavioral change, trust is a very strong prerequisite, which is a function of time, and eventually that's the strength of all the developmental organization, which has been working over the ages and years, and they have great relationship with the farmers. I think it's just that earlier the problem statement, Agritechs as well as the development organizations, they were chasing. I think those were not conversed, which is now basically getting narrowed down. What we were talking right before this panel discussion as well, right? Maybe just an example. This is third time I'm here in Access Livelihood Summit, and unlike all the previous 2 years, this time I can say that that they had an access. Now they are. Getting in touch to work on a common problem statement in a geography, and that has been very organic, mutual interest from both the organization. So again, that's another silver line maybe.
Yeah. No, that's great. I think on this positive note, we'd like to conclude. Sorry for taking more time. But yeah, it was a wonderful session. I wish if we had some time for question and answers, but I guess we need to close it. Thank you very much, all the panelists. Lovely listening to you.
Thank you so much for this such an insightful discussion and sharing so much ground experience and so much innovative thoughts and models, which would be really very attractive for some of our partners who can integrate technology, how to integrate technology into the agri ecosystem. So thank you, Mathur sir, for conducting such an engaging moderation. We are really sorry because we don't have time to take questions, but anyways, offline you can just do that interaction. So thank you again all the delegates for joining us for this session. We will just reconvene very soon. Now we'll be breaking for very small tea break, but after that we'll be reconvening our session in this hall for fireside chat on transformative learnings from models for inclusive livelihoods at 4:20. And we will have Amarjit Sinha, former Secretary, Ministry of Rural Development, and Smriti Sharan, Joint Secretary from Ministry of Development, in conversation with Shweta A. Banerjee, country lead BRAC International. We hope to see you soon in that session. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, sorry. We will have some token of appreciation for, so I request my team to please present that. And then we will, I request you to please come ahead so that we can take a group photograph. Thank you.
remember to carry all of your belongings with you.
आपका है कैसे पता
अच्छा, okay.